Hello and welcome to Sebae. My name is Ian and I'm going to show you the process of compiling and installing a Dom0 kernel on Debian 12. So for this we're going to run through our blog article which details everything I'm going to show you today. And I'm going to show you how it's all done on a VPS which I've prepared earlier on today. So there are some requirements. So you need a server with Debian 12, fresh installation recommended, access to the internet, root access to the server. The server should be a physical host, so it's perfectly fine to do this on a VPS in a test environment, but if you're putting this into production, please make sure it's a physical host. If you're interested in any servers from us, we offer a range of dedicated servers on our website. You will also need SSH access to the server. So please ensure your server is kept up to date. So once you have all this up and running, especially if it's a production server, please ensure you keep the Debian packages up to date on a regular basis. So let's start the process. Now, as this is done today, I was highly expecting nothing else needed to be updated, so that's good. On your system you may find a number of packages that need updating first. Again, this might take a while to do. So this is our partition layout on the server. We've got the boot volume, the root volume, swap volume, and also the LVM volume. So this is where all our virtual guests will be stored. You don't have to follow these partition sizes. So you can obviously spec it up how you want to. But for this demonstration, this is what we've set. So let's start installing all our packages that are needed for compiling XEN and the kernel. This may take a few minutes to run. The actual time for completion throughout the whole process is usually around 1 to 2 hours, and that's just purely on the compile time of the kernel and of XEN. I'll come back shortly when this is finished and we'll continue. Okay, that's now complete. So the next stage of this is to download our XEN kernel. just extract the tar, go into the directory, configure binaries, and now we can build the source. Again, I'll come back once this is finished, as this can take a few minutes. Okay, so that's now completed. That took around 10 minutes to compile, so obviously it can vary on what system you're running. So next we need to install XEN into the right directories. And then there's some tweaks that you can add in. You don't have to do this. We just do this as we don't normally use the save option. But it's entirely up to you if you want to do it or not. This basically saves the VM state, so when the system boots back up, everything should be back how it was. But again, we don't use this for our customers. So moving on to the system tweaks that I mentioned. So again, you don't have to put these in. This is basically just starts up the daemons when the system boots up. For the purpose of this demonstration, I will do it. So it asks you to check your run level. So normally we're on 5. Yeah. So we can simply copy all this and just paste it. And again, ballooning is an option. We don't generally use this either. This will essentially instruct Dom0 to shrink or give the guest more memory in case it's running low on resources. But the system can suffer performance wise, so we generally don't enable this. It depends on your use case. I would. I mean, in today's world, your system's usually packed with RAM, so I don't think this is really required. But we generally just allocate the RAM to the guest, and that's what they can use. So it's entirely up to you. So next, we need to go on to configuring our network interfaces in the bridge. So we have a default config here set up by Debian. What we're going to do is copy all of this. Just paste that in there. And what you need to do is make sure the adapters are the same. So here we have EMP6S18, so I need to change that. S18. And the IP address. And the rest is okay. The adapter there. So now you can just remove or comment out the rest of the previous network setup, as you won't need that now. So once that's done, to save the changes. And reboot the system to make sure it's working. Okay, so it should hopefully be rebooted now. And what you should now see is your new XEN BR0 interface bridge linked to your network adapter. So when all the guests are created, they will use the bridge as their virtual switch and route through that to the internet or your network. Again, just another command you can run to check it's all there. So that's the XEN part completed. Next is actually compiling the kernel. So this process can take a significantly long time. So let's go and get the latest kernel from kernel.org. Okay, so we'll untile that. And change into the directory. So at this point, there's an optional thing you can do. So make old config. What that will do is grab your existing config file from the kernel that you're booted into, and take those settings into your new config. So anything like your drivers that you may have pre-compiled, such as SCSI drivers or starter drivers, etc., they'll all be pulled over, and it will save you having to go through the menus and enabling those in the new kernel. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I'll do that. And just hold enter down to accept all the values. You may want to go through these and just change anything you don't want, although there is a lot of options to go through. So once that's done, I will then actually go into the new kernel menu. Just need to widen the screen a bit. And what we need to do here is we need to make sure the XEN options are enabled. So first of all, we need to go to the processors menu. And then scroll down to Linux guest support. And we just need to make sure all these are enabled. So as you can see, they're already enabled for us, so that's not a problem. Sometimes the kernel doesn't have these enabled, so it's always good to go in and check. And then we need to go back to the devices menu. Device driver, sorry. And again, we're looking for the XEN. Drive support. And we're again looking for making sure these options are enabled. So as we can see, all the ones we need are enabled. Might just enable that one as well. Enable Virto IO drivers. Yeah, that's good. So on to the next one. No, that's what we've just done. So back to block support. Block devices. So again, we're looking for XEN. The XEN options. So let's go down. Yeah, and they're enabled. Again, I've seen this before where they're not, and you spend ages compiling the kernel only to realise these were not enabled, and then you'll find that the guest won't boot. So save yourself the headache and just make sure these are enabled. Okay, so now we need to go to network support, and again find the XEN options, and they are enabled, so that's good. Where possible, I would suggest use them as a module, not compile them into the kernel, just to keep the size of the kernel down and RAM. The kernel will only load modules when needed. So that's our menu selection completed. yes, we need to do this because there's a certificate error that pops up during compiling, and this resolves that. So make sure you run that command, and then just for clarification, you can check your config file. Oops. And you can see there's a lot of options set there for XEN, which should pretty much tally up to this. It does appear there's some extra options enabled there, but we don't really need. The ones that we need are here. So, and that is it. So then we can go on and actually make the kernel image and come back when it's completed. This will take, from experience, about 1 to 2 hours. So I'll come back once this is finished. Okay, so that has now completed. It took around an hour and a half to compile, so it does take a while. So as that's now completed, we can copy those images into the server's boot directory. And generate the RAM image. So next we just need to configure grub. By doing this, when grub's doing its scan, it will prioritise the XEN kernel. And we can also set a static memory size for the Dom0, which is you do need to give the Dom0 some RAM to play with. So recommendation is about 1 gig. You can of course allocate more if you want to. Okay, so that's done. So next we just need to update grub, and it will do the scan. And that should be complete. So just reboot the system afterwards, and hopefully you should have a working Dom0. Just give that a minute. Still booting up. Okay. So you can check we're booted into the correct kernel. So 6.12.5, and hopefully if we now issue XL list, we can see XEN is booted, it's loaded the Dom0 and now ready to accept guests. I won't cover the actual guest creation in this video, I'll probably do a separate one for that, but most of your guest configurations will go into the XEN directory, and there is a couple of examples, so you can probably take one of those configs and edit the details for what you require, such as memory, the amount of vCPUs, guest name. And that covers today's video. So I hope you found this useful. I will post a link in the description to the blog article. Feel free to comment or send any questions in. Thank you very much.